Alright, so this is going to be a tutorial on how to manipulate the Power Ring level 2 and Oracle Seasons after Dungeon 1. You're gonna be manipulating the ring off of Maple, the witch. So you're gonna want to kill 30 enemies between starting the game and this manipulation, so that Maple actually spawns after Dungeon 1. And you're gonna want to have killed all of these enemies before actually starting the manip, since we actually don't kill any enemies during the manip itself. Other things you want to keep in mind before starting is that you want to have at least 1 rupee. If you have 0 rupees, the drops from Maple will actually end up in spots where you cannot reach the items, which is pretty bad, obviously. So you want to make sure you have 1 rupee or more. And you also want to make sure that you don't waste more than 1 Ember Seed in the dungeon. So if you waste 0 Ember Seeds, you'll have 16 when leaving the dungeon, and if you waste 1, you'll have 15. And both 15 and 16 are fine for the manipulation. If you have less though, once again, the drops will end up in different spots, so you want to be mindful of those counts. But yeah, to initiate the manip, you're going to want to save and quit, and you're going to perform what's known as a hard reset, which is basically like turning your console off and on. And what this does is that it sets the RNG to a consistent value, which is very useful for manipulating the RNG. So you're gonna hard reset, which is signified by seeing the Game Boy screen like this. And you're gonna be wanting to mash through the title screen pretty fast, and it's because of this screen right here. The screen where it says press start, and it's because the screen actually rolls RNG on basically like every other frame. So it can put your RNG way off track if you don't get past the screen quickly. So after hard resetting, you're going to want to start mashing after this blue screen fades out, or during the Capcom screen, but obviously it's faster after the blue screen fades out. So just mash start like this. On this screen, RNG doesn't roll, but obviously you still want to go through it quickly, so just get back into the game. So, in this first room, you're going to want to set the RNG to kind of a specific value. It's not super precise actually, but at this point you're going to be wanting to learn to listen to the sounds or tones that your sword makes, the sword slashes. It basically has 3 different tones, so we like to refer to them as the low sound, the mid sound, and the high sound. In this particular case, you want to first listen until you hear a low sound. So that was the low sound right there. And then you're going to want to listen to the next sound. So that was the mid sound. This means that I mashed through kind of slow, but it's still okay, because if you hear a mid sound, you just want to slash once more, like this, and the RNG will be good. If you mash through a little bit quicker, you should hear a high sound after the low sound, so like that. So that's a high sound, and that also works perfectly fine. If you slash 1 more than this high sound as well, it will also be fine. Keep that in mind. I'll show off also the first seed I got here, so if you keep on slashing, you'll hear another low sound here and then a mid sound. So if you hear a low and then a mid, just slash once more and you'll be good for the minute. Anyways, I'm going to proceed on. In this room, there's going to be basically a bunch of Stalfos. Because of the manipulation they did in the first room, none of these guys will get in the way. So you just want to light the 2 torches and head up as fast as you can, because their movement does influence RNG, so you want to get out of the screen as fast as you can too. Light them like that, head up. In this room, you kind of just want to cut the corners tight, head through like normal, avoid getting grabbed by the hands. Shouldn't be too difficult if you just follow the path I took. This next room gets a little bit more complicated, because you'll see if you just like head like normal, this hand will actually spawn in the way and he's gonna grab you once you approach him. You don't want to slash him, because obviously that rolls RNG. So what you can actually do is that you can like if you press down while you're moving, basically influences the hands to spawn to also move down. So what you want to do is that you want to hold right, but you also want to like press down for a few frames once you like reach this position here between the 2 blocks. And that's gonna manipulate the hand to spawn below you. Just like that, and now you can safely just walk to the door without any trouble. Now we're in the boss room, and you're gonna want to slash your sword once again to manipulate the RNG of the boss, so that he does not give you a charge. Here you're gonna want to be listening for a low sound followed by a mid sound. In that mid sound, you're gonna want to hold the sword and charge a spin attack. So, high, mid, mid, low, mid, spin attack, and just slash the boss until he dies. If you take some damage or whatever, it doesn't really matter, as long as you don't do a bunch of extra slashes. It should mainly be fine. And again, you want to make sure that you don't overmash on getting the heart container either, because you might either slash your sword or waste an Ember Seed. But like I said, if you just waste one Ember Seed like this, like 15 works completely fine for the Manip. It's not going to change anything. If you waste one more though, it will change things, so you want to be mindful of that. 15 or 16 both work fine. Now that you've carried the manipulation all the way through Aquamentus and Dungeon 1, you're gonna be wanting to manipulate Mape on the coming up screen here. So, she will spawn as long as you've killed 30 enemies and you've kept count. So once you get on the screen, you're basically gonna want to slash the bush and then listen to the sword slashes once again. You're gonna want to hear the sounds high, mid, high, high, and then position yourselves to the right of the sign, since Maple is gonna come from the left side. So, slash the bush, high, mid, high, high. And once Maple bumps into you, you wait until Maple bumps into you, and then you slash and hold out the sword. And what that does is that it instantly collects the ring, and it also manipulates it to be the power ring. So the ring basically spawns right where my sword is, or like below Maple. You'll have instantly obtained it with this method. And you also get a potion, which is below me right now. You'll also get that instantly once you're done with the text box. So just smash through the text, hold out the sword, and grab the items. And at that point, you will have successfully manipulated the ring. So the ring actually, like, what ring it is actually gets decided depending on the RNG the moment you pick it up. Which is why you want to do the slash before picking up the ring. As opposed to, like, at some point before appraising it, because right now it's already decided it's going to be the power ring. I'll just show it off here in the shop. So that's the powering level 2. Normally you want to basically get this later on in the route, because it's actually slower to visit the ring shop right now. So on screen I'll show where you're supposed to get it, which is on the way back from Dungeon 2 and on the way to Dungeon 3. But yeah, that about sums it up. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or something, and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. But I hope the tutorial helps.